Okay, here we are, week four. Mully's money picks. Mully, how you doing?
Hey, good Sam. How are you?
I'm doing well. All right, just to remind everyone, this is where we go through Mully's picks for the week. DraftKings GPP plays, tournament plays, high risk, high reward. Jason, you want to get started?
Yeah, let's get right into it. Look, last week we talked a little bit about how we were changing the format a little bit. By all indications, all reviews are positive, so we're sticking with it. Now we're going with Money in the Bank and coin flips. Your Money in the Bank plays are your guys that you're going to want to try and find a way to fit into your lineup. They may be a bit more expensive, but they're guys that are going to produce week in and week out. And then your coin flips are simply that. It's a coin flip. You may get a lot out of them or you may get nothing out of them, but they're the contrarian kind of guys that you want to build your lineup with to help separate you from the herd in one of those GPP contests. That especially becomes important this week and moving forward as we approach the bye weeks. And the bye weeks is actually our topic for this week's Fantasy Haiku. So we have bye weeks are brutal, missing your usual studs. Pool's getting shallow. What we mean there is just exactly that. The pool of players is getting shallower each week. This week we see that we have the Broncos, the Bengals, the Cardinals, the Seahawks, all on bye. And I believe we've got, the Browns. Didn't even mention them. Not a lot of fantasy players there, but let's be honest. There's a lot of guys that are missing. So you want to be ever more diligent in trying to pick your players this week and make sure that you get the guys that are going to be in a good position to produce for you when you're missing a lot of these extra guys. And these contrarian picks are the kind of picks that can help put you at the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, and actually this week, I think it's going to be a heavy week. I think there's going to be some high-scoring teams that win these tournaments. There are about 3 or 4 really nice stacks. We've got the Chargers, the Steelers. You just got some high-scoring games. Even the Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco Niners. I mean, the Niners may shut down the run, but they're getting thrown on, and Philadelphia is going to put up some numbers there. So I think it's going to be a really nice week, lots of scoring. All right, let's get into it. Let's start with your RB Money in the Bank, week 4.
Going with my guy Matt Forte here. And I know, admittedly, I'm actually a Matt Forte owner in some season-long leagues, and he's gotten off to kind of a slow start. Obviously not what everybody's expected. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. Matt Forte has been on the field for nearly every offensive snap that the Bears have played so far this year. It's not an issue of underutilization. It's that they've faced 3 stout defenses so far this year, especially stout against the run. It opens up a lot this week, though. They're playing against the Packers. I anticipate this being a bit of a shootout, but I also anticipate Forte finally finding some open running room and getting on the board with some rushing yards, in addition to a lot of the work that he gets catching the ball out of the backfield as well. So my Money in the Bank, Matt Forte.
All right, I like Forte, and I like his PPR value as well. I'm going to go with your other, DeMarco Murray. I just think he's the best fantasy running back in the game right now. He just proves it week after week. He's had some fumbling issues. I mean, it seems like every game he's fumbling the ball once, but he makes up for it with 100-plus yards and a TD. I think that the game plan against the Saints is going to be to run the ball a lot and keep the ball out of Brees' hands, and if they do that successfully, Murray's going to have a big day.
Definitely.
So I like both of those. All right, your coin flip. You've got Sankey. If he plays, you think he's getting the rock?
I believe so. Look, a lot of people were on the Bishop Sankey bandwagon in the preseason. He was the highest drafted rookie running back, granted the lowest drafted rookie running back for the first off the board in the history of the NFL, but still the first rookie running back drafted. We all thought that it would be probably just a short matter of time before he'd actually start seeing more of a featured role behind Sean Green and Dexter McCluster. He was really impressive through training camp, really impressive through the first bit of the preseason, and then he just kind of fell off the map. He was 4th on the depth chart and buried and didn't see a lot of opportunities. That all changed last week, and he's now 2nd on the depth chart. I think it's only a matter of time before we find him 1st, and I'm buying him this week. If he plays against the Indianapolis Colts, look, they just gave up over 100 yards to the Jaguars. I don't see any reason why he can't eclipse that number.
Yeah, if he plays, I think he's still a coin flip. I just don't know yet, but it could be a nice play because other people are going to be wary as well. They don't know if he's going to play a lot, and you could go for broke. It's a nice GPP play if he's on the field. So check that injury report before you set your lineup. All right, moving on. Money in the Bank wide receiver. Antonio Brown or Calvin Johnson? Which one are you picking?
I'm going Antonio Brown here. Not that I don't like Johnson. I think it's a great matchup for him, and he's Megatron. He's going to put up his numbers. But, Antonio Brown is pure PPR gold. And we already talked a little bit about this last week and touched on it some with what the Falcons were able to do to the Buccaneers. I don't think that he puts up the kind of yardage that we saw from Julio Jones, but I don't see any reason that he can't at least eclipse the number of receptions, put up a decent yardage total, eclipse 100 yards, and find the end zone. He is money in the bank this week.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're going to tear up Tampa Bay as well. There's not going to be a whole lot of defense in that game. Pittsburgh's got a lot of injuries, so I think that it's going to be a nice game for him. Calvin Johnson has also been out of practice twice this week, ankle issues, so check on him. I think Brown is definitely money in the bank. All right, your coin flip, you're going with the San Diego game, which is going to be one of my favorite stacks this weekend, and Malcolm Floyd.
Absolutely. You're going to see a lot of Chargers on both my picks and my confident lineups because, again, we saw what the Colts did. They've got a great matchup. You've alluded to that. Look, Malcolm Floyd was the number one wide receiver before Keenan Allen broke out last year. He's not a bad receiver. He just has Keenan Allen competing for catches now. And, of course, Antonio Gates and Ladarius Green from the tight end position. So he's got a great opportunity to score some points here. I don't anticipate them just going to Keenan Allen or Antonio Gates. They're going to be able to spread the ball around, and they're going to be able to move the ball at will. So he is kind of a coin flip. It is a risky play because he could just as easily be targeted 10 times as 0 times. But if he gets the targets, he's going to get the production.
Yeah, I think it's a real coin flip. I would actually go with Allen over Floyd this week. I think that Allen's going to break out. He's had some tough defenses to go against. I think this is his game. I think the Rivers-Allen stack is nice, but Floyd could definitely hit a home run. He's always eligible to hit that long ball, so definitely a coin flip. All right, your QB money in the bank. You've got a few here.
I do have a few. I'll let you get to the one that I know you're going to pick, so I'll pick one of the other guys. Look, I'm going with Drew Brees. He's been kind of quiet so far, but Dallas has been a little bit better defense than we all thought they were going to be starting the season, and that's been a bit of a surprise. But what else has been surprising is that, their offense has kind of turned into this run-first offense. So, the Saints are going to have to move the ball. They're going to have to put points up. This isn't going to be just a low-scoring, field goal type game. And I think Drew Brees, this finally is the week that we see him eclipse 300 yards, throw a few touchdowns, and really get off the schneid, if you can call it that, for an elite quarterback.
Yeah, he's back on turf, and he's going to light it up this week. I think he's a great play. I think he's money in the bank. But I'm also going with Phillip Rivers. I love that stack. I love him this week against Jacksonville. Jacksonville has improved that they can stop people throwing the ball on them. And look, San Diego has a nice offense. They've had two injuries for the running back, but they still have Donald Brown. He's competent, and I think he's going to hold down the fort. He's a good pass blocker. I think Phillip Rivers puts up numbers this week. All right, your coin flip, QB.
Going with Ryan Fitzpatrick here. This is the epitome of a coin flip. And Buffalo has a pretty decent defense, but they've been able to be attacked through the air. So, I see them, especially with Arian Foster, still a bit of uncertainty there. I see him relying a little bit more on the passing game. Ryan Fitzpatrick's always been kind of a game manager, so to speak. He's not been that guy that you necessarily rely on as a game changer, but he also managed to have a really good week last week, and I don't see any reason why he isn't going to be able to do the same this week. They're going to have to put some points on the board, and again, without Arian Foster or with a reduced workload for Arian Foster, that means that much more reliance on Ryan Fitzpatrick, and so he's underappreciated. He's definitely going to be a low-utilized guy come Sunday, and he's a nice contrarian play. Could put up some points for you.
All right. Okay, moving on to your tight end. Who's your tight end, money in the bank?
For the same reason that I picked Drew Brees, I'm going to go with Jimmy Graham. Look, he's Jimmy Graham. Everybody knows. I don't have to explain it. But again, I think that this is a great matchup. I think they're going to put up the points. They're inside in Jerry's world, so it's going to be a big game for Drew Brees and Jimmy Graham.
Jimmy Graham, you can't go wrong with him. I'm going to throw someone else out there, Martellus Bennett. I mean, he's been killing it. You've been having him in your lineups, and he's been one of the best tight ends in the league so far this year. I think he continues. There are some injury concerns with Marshall and Jeffrey, and Bennett's he's getting red zone targets. He's just a beast. So I would go with Bennett in my money in the bank spot, tight end.
Definitely.
Your coin flip is a true coin flip. One of two tight ends on the Chargers.
Absolutely. This falls into the same category as Malcolm Floyd. I'm going with Ladarius Green here. Now, Antonio Gates, obviously still the clear-cut starter there, and Ladarius Green, we all thought that he'd get a bit more work than he's gotten this year, and that hasn't really been the case thus far. But I don't see them just focusing on Keenan Allen. I don't see them just focusing on Antonio Gates. Like I said, they're going to be able to put the ball wherever they want to put the ball, and Green is an amazing weapon to have on the field. I don't think it's going to be a huge day for him, but I see him getting a few catches, probably putting up about 50, 60 yards, and maybe even finding the end zone.
Yeah, and Danny Woodhead going down actually affects Green. I think he gets on the field a bit more. Woodhead would get a lot of those passes that Green might take. Don Brown can still catch the ball out of the backfield, but he might be blocking a lot more.
Yeah, he's great in pass protection.
Yeah, and I think at one point Green is going to take over, and I think they're starting to see that potential. It's just tough to push Gates out of the way, and so it is a true coin flip on who's going to get the yards and the touchdown that week. But Green definitely has the potential, and I think they're seeing that. I think he plays more. It really is a coin flip, though. I'm playing Green in a couple lineups. I like his price tag. So, all right, moving on to your defensive money in the bank pick.
I got a couple here, and my biggest one, I got to go with the Falcons. You know, look, the Falcons. Your Falcons, absolutely. The stout defense of the Atlanta Falcons. Listen, I'm not sold that this defense is going to be much improved from what we saw last year, but they've looked okay so far, and they looked great against Tampa Bay. They also get the benefit of facing off against Teddy Bridgewater in his first ever official start as quarterback, so that just bodes well for them. I don't think that this is going to be a monster performance like what we saw, but Devin Hester's on the field, so you can't count out the fact that there's potential for a kick return as well. I like them a lot in this matchup. All
right. I mean, I love the Falcons. Their defense just isn't there still. They have some nice young cornerbacks, but they have problems with running QBs. Bridgewater, I think, is going to run on them, and they have real problems with speed. Their linebackers are slow, and they're slow to react. So I think someone like Patterson's going to tear them up. I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair, but they do have the potential for turning him over, and that's what you want in a GPP defense. I would like this more if Atlanta was at home. They play exponentially better at home.
Definitely.
So we'll see. I mean, the Minnesota home field advantage isn't that strong right now in the stadium they're playing in. Mm-hmm. It's not the Dome, so maybe it's not as big of a factor. But I like the Chargers this week on defense, and I really like Oakland. Who's playing Oakland?
Miami, I believe.
Miami, yeah, the Dolphins. I really like the Dolphins this week. I mean, once again, same philosophy. You're going against Carr. He has a few games under him, but they're still a mess. I mean, Oakland's a mess. Their number one receiver, Rod Streeter's down, and I think they have the potential to turn him over. San Diego playing at home is always nice. So I think San Diego and Dolphins are going to be played a lot this week. So Atlanta would definitely be a good contrarian pick.
Well, and of course, Jacksonville also facing a rookie quarterback in his first start. We saw Bortles a little bit. He looked decent in the second half of that game against the Colts, but this is going to be his first true start, so that's going to be something else to take into consideration with that one as well. I think that bodes well for the Chargers.
Yeah, and he threw, 2 picks?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they can turn him over, and Chargers at home can do some things. They can get some TDs on defense. All right, lastly, your coin flip for the defense?
My coin flip this week is the Saints. Now, last year, I had a firm believing that the Saints were going to finish as a top 10 defense, and that actually panned out to be true. I don't know what's really happened. The defense was supposed to have improved, and I don't know, to be honest, I can't really put my finger on as to what's so much different this year from last year and why the defense has struggled the way they have. But they're playing Dallas at Dallas. We all know that Tony Romo can make some mistakes. If you get some fumbles from DeMarco Murray, a couple turnovers from Romo, maybe that's enough to turn the tide of the game in their favor, and it could be a high-scoring affair, but again, I'm just banking on some potential mistakes. They're going to be a very, very low-utilized defense. They've got a very, very nice low price tag on them right now. And, look, if they get those turnovers, they could score you some big points.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's kind of strange the way they're playing. They upgraded. They got their stud safety back, and they're just not playing the way they should. Dallas is tough, though. I mean, they're offensively capable. They'll be held down for 3 quarters and then light it up in 1 quarter. So it is a coin flip, but like you said, Romo turns it over. Murray turns it over. Bryant's hurt. He's got a bad shoulder. Who knows what happens in that game? So It could be a good contrarian pick. All right, you can find us on fantasyfootballmoneyleague.com at FFmoneyleague. You can find Jason at Fantasy Rambler. And look out for our Week 4 lineup picks from DraftKings. Good luck. Thanks, Jason.
Hey, thanks, Sam.